everyone, Day here, and welcome back to my Let's Play of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. In this episode, we're going to logic and reasoning deduct what Benedict, whose real name is actually Egbert, I believe. Well, that's not even his real name. I don't think it is. I want to say that Ryunosuke in the last episode also mentioned that it seemed kinda sus, his name, and I have to agree. It sounded so fairy tale like that. I think I asked if he was like Humpty Dumpty or something. It can't be his real name. It's like an alias or something that he gave to us. But anyway, as long as everything looks good this time, I only pressed like 3 panels and was talking to myself, I realized, because my microphone was not recording. So hopefully when I press continue this time, it doesn't start there, but it starts right where I wanted it to before. Okay, it looks like it did. Awesome. So yes, we're in the middle of a logic and reasoning deduction. It just started, as you all know, if you watched the last episode. So you have missed nothing. This is the very beginning, if for some reason you want to watch it from this point. But anyways, first of all, we must ask ourselves on what business you ventured to this pawnbrokery today. You claim to have followed this pickpocket here, having had the redemption ticket stolen from you on the street. But that is most certainly a lie. The real truth is something quite different. So he is holding some kind of pamphlet, or just a piece of paper of some sort, maybe even a poster. As revealed by that which you hold in your hand. Yes, what brought you to this shop in the first place is the staff recruitment flyer. This guy does not wish to work at the pawnbrokery. I mean, look at this guy. Does he look like he wants to be selling broken clocks like the one in the background? The piece of paper in your hand is a stuff wanted advertisement from this very shop. I mean, isn't he holding like a staff? Could it just be that kind of staff, maybe? Possibly? Potentially? Yet, even the most unobservant would soon realize that a man of your appearance has no need for such employ. In other words, there is some ulterior motive for your actions. The cane which you unwittingly clutch to your person exhibits an incontrovertible contradiction. What other rot? I've had this cane for years. The contradiction of which I speak is, of course, the missing Thoreau. You know, I did just see that there are initials on this cane. AG. If you noticed that before I just swung it down a little bit. The end of any walking cane would be terminated with a metal ferrule to protect the wooden tip. And yet, detailed analysis shows the wooden tip of this stick is to be utterly bare. Therefore, there is only one conclusion. The rod that you hold in your hand, which appears to be a walking cane, is in fact no cane at all. He's not looking confused about that, so I don't know if I believe that one. AG is ingrained on it, though. You recoil, sir. Is something wrong? I. And in your recoiling, you inadvertently facilitate the answer of the next conundrum to present itself. Namely, what is the truth behind this rod you bear? Yes, your reaction betrays the truth. The handle, which you evidently would like to conceal, is the key to understanding this riddle, you see. From the moment I saw it, my suspicions were aroused. What walking cane demands such a stout handle? Used I. But of course, as I said, this is no walking cane. No, that rod is the broken handle of a shovel. Interesting. I don't think he's right, obviously, but at least so far, he's catching my interest with what he's trying to figure out here. What? Are you insane? And now, having determined this undeniable truth, the conclusion is clear. Your true motive for coming here was to take employment at this establishment in order to excavate the ground beneath the premises. What a calculated crime you have conceived, sir. A wickedly calculated crime. To tunnel underneath the pawnbrokery. Just call him one of the 7 dwarves, I guess. Great crime. Now, Mr. Benedict, let us continue. For we must expose the details of this elaborate crime you have in the planning. This is utterly absurd. You suggest that I, a gentleman, intend to excavate the ground beneath this pawnbrokery with a broken shovel? What on earth do you propose I could expect to find there? Some long-forgotten treasure, I suppose? Say for such a fanciful theory, what possible reason could I have to do as you say? Hand on the hip. Oh, but there is ample reason. As you are only too well aware, Mr. Benedict. Ah, and your furtive glance is more telling than I could have hoped. What? Let us consider what would motivate a man to infiltrate a shop such as this and covertly dig beneath its floor. The answer is revealed by the console notice on the counter to which your eyes were inadvertently drawn. This letter gives notice of public works to be carried out in the local area. And according to the enclosed plan of the upcoming sewerage works, beneath this shop runs a sewer that adjoins another, one that runs under the bank on the opposite side of the road. This madness has entered the sewers now, has it? By excavating the ground beneath our feet, you would gain access to the waterway. That flows in very close proximity to the great vault of the financial institution opposite. Oh! You might be on the right path with that one. If there's a bank across the street, that is a slight motive. What are you? Okay, he seems a little confused by that, so maybe not. Maybe he doesn't necessarily need all of that. In summary, sir, you devised a master plan to pull off an elaborate bank robbery by dint of the underground tunnels. Master plan? Which brings us at last to the final chapter of this lurid scheme. With what plunder did the thief hope to make off from the underground vault of the bank? Are you quite serious? Having consulted with Scotland Yard some days ago, I happen to know the answer. But naturally, the answer is no secret to you, is it, Mr. Benedict? I have no idea what you're talking about. Allow me to present a rather interesting piece of evidence. You see, this picture postcard tells us all we need to know. London Crystal Tower? Postcard of the Great Exhibition? I'm afraid you've quite lost me. Currently, in the final stages of preparation, the Great Exhibition will soon be underway, and the government has provided extra funds to complete its centerpiece, the Crystal Tower. Funds that currently sit in the vault of the bank, on the other side of the road. Pardon? Yes, the considerable crime you have been contemplating is the theft of that which sits in the vault of the bank, the special reserve funds for the Great Exhibition. Of course, that is top secret police information, so keep it in your hat, please. Sholmes! To steal the Great Exhibition's reserve funds. This is the second time he's done this particular case. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of this pawnbroking puzzle. Dun, 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 dun. Isn't that Wheel of Fortune? I can't. Mr. Sholmes. Elementary, my dear boy. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, an impressively upbeat deduction for a detective ranked with loneliness, wouldn't you not agree? Was it true what you said about the bank over the road and what it has in its vault? Indeed. Though few know of its existence. It is one of the government's most closely guarded secrets. That you literally just aired to everyone in this particular room. Yes, Sholmes, very smart of you indeed. Gregson told me in the strictest confidence. More reason why I have to point out you told everyone in the room. Sheesh. But you just announced it to everyone here. Rather loudly, in fact. Why? It's moments like this where I just feel like maybe my analysis of Sholmes was completely wrong. And if it's such a big secret, how would Mr. Benedict have come to find out about it? There can be but one explanation for that. Clearly it is because the man is a criminal. Oh my gosh! A criminal. But what if he didn't know anything about the money in the vault? If he is a criminal, as you said, then buying a brand new shovel is sure to be the first thing he does now that you've revealed the secret. Oh. Or if he doesn't, maybe Mr. Windybake will. He already has plenty of shovels here, after all. All my life! I assure you, I'm not so unscrupulous. I don't know. Well, hopefully this has taught you a valuable lesson. Sensitive information must be handled with the utmost care. Idioto. One can never be sure that someone privy to secrets won't disclose them, and once the word is out, it's out. Perhaps I'll think twice before confiding in you next time, Mr. Sholmes. Agreed. Make that two of us, at least. I'm pretty sure Susato might agree. But she is the biggest Sholmes fan here. An excellent idea, Mr. Naruhodo. An excellent idea. Well then, Mr. Naruhodo, know what to do, I'm sure. Yes. Let's listen to that great deduction again and see if we can massage it into shape. Very well then. Let us start once more from the beginning. Of Hillock Sholmes, magnificent logic and reasoning spectacular. Course correction, hold it, Mr. Sholmes. First of all, we must ask ourselves on what business you ventured to this pawnbrokery today. You claim to have followed this pickpocket here, having had the redemption ticket stolen from you on the street. But that is most certainly a lie. The real truth is something quite different. This should be the part that we're going to come up on, as revealed by that which you hold in your hand. Yes, what brought you here to this shop in the first place is the staff recruitment flyer. So by Mr. Sholmes' reasoning, Mr. Benedict came here in order to apply for a job so he could dig down through the floor. Kind of like a prisoner. Yes, in an attempt to tunnel into the sewers to gain access to the money in the vault of the bank across the road. But he wouldn't get very far with a broken shovel, would he? No. I think it's fair to say his motives lie elsewhere. The question is, where? What did bring Mr. Benedict here at this particular point in time? Okay, now we get to do our thing, and I love the 3D. Stylish hat, eh? Hey, stylish hat. Let's see. Usually something right in his viewpoint, right? What brought him to this shop in the first place? Interestingly enough, cocaine, fire. I want to present. I can't just examine it. What's history? What's this? Did he already have the cane when he started? Just examine some stuff. That's a proper English gentleman's cane, isn't it? Look at that beautiful. Look at the beautifully polished brass on the handle. Yes, but Mr. Sholmes is right. It's not the sort of handle you usually see on a cane. Perhaps it's the latest London fashion. I mean, that's just guesswork, of course. Oh, sorry. Wrong person. Perhaps you could adopt the cane, Mr. Naruhodo. It might rather suit you. I have a feeling that might argue with the sword around my waist. Ah, the Sogi sword. I do want to click on this because I don't think that's a staff recruitment. It certainly is a flyer for Mr. Windybank's shop. Never mind. Let's see. Windybanks wants you. Pawnbroker's assistant required. It's an eye-catching advertisement, that's for sure. I feel like he learned something about this shop maybe from that. I've seen the same flyer up here inside the shop, I think. Perhaps Mr. Windybank is always in need of more staff. Mr. Benedict came here to apply for a job? That's just too hard to believe. It can't be the cane. Let me see something. Is it? I can't click on anything else. Nothing else is... What brought the mysterious Benedict? Let's click on his hat. That silk top hat is whiter than white. Only an English gentleman could hope to carry off something so bright. It looks so incongruous with that black overcoat, don't you think? Because it's not his coat. Incongruous. Perhaps it's the latest London fashion. I mean, that's just guesswork, of course. How about it, Mr. Naruhodo? I think you look very fetching in a white top hat. Well, you know, I think it might look rather incongruous with my black university uniform, so... Well, that's it. Can't look at his hand or nothing. It just doesn't. It feels, in this case, it feels like none of this is correct. Like, yes, what brought you to this shop in the first place is.
Take that!
You can't judge a book by its cover, as they say. Someone who appears wealthy may well be poor. Being such a man, you're desperate for money. When you realize you had no real need for your cane, you brought it here today with the intention of pawning it for as much as the broker would give you. What spectacularly contrived logic led you to this mindless conclusion? Oh, well, it's supposed to be a logic and reasoning spectacular, so I thought I'd contribute to the show. This is my show, Mr. Naruhodo. Kindly perform any peculiar experiments on your own stage. Sorry. Still don't quite understand why this gentleman came to Mr. Windybanks today. He might look like a smartly dressed man about town, but perhaps he's destitute, really. I really think that's the only explanation. We must stop thinking along those lines, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, I suppose you're right. But in that case, perhaps there's something in this pawn shop that the man was looking for. Let's look closely and see if there's anything about his person. Gives us a clue. Anything about his person? His face, then? Eyes? Maybe it is the hat. It's the only thing that stands out on him at this point, right? Scribbled writing. Oh! I'm so foolish. I probably noticed this the first time. Kind of, but like in a vague kind of way. Oh, look at all the scribbled notes in the back of the flyer here. I don't believe it! What is it? Listen to what it says. Name, Gina Lestrade. Height, 5'2". Green cap, scruffy waistcoat, grubby white shirt, blue satchel, ragged. It's a detailed description of Miss Lestrade. Goodness, there's even a sketch of her, hat and all. Although if he showed it to her, she'd fire that smoke grenade launcher in his face for sure. Absolutely. It might take her a little bit to load it up, but she would totally try to shoot it at him. And look, the details of the shop have been written down here too. I knew he was staged. I'm like, there's no way he's telling the truth. Windybank's Pawnbrokery, Baker Street. Redemption deadline, 15th April. That's normally when taxes are due, like around the middle of April. which is today's date. Oh yeah, and it's also the date in the game. Why would Mr. Benedict have all that information scrawled on the back of that piece of paper? Well, we got ourselves a winner chicken dinner here.
Take that!
I'm like, no, I was looking at that. I'm like, none of that feels right. Yes, what brought you to this shop in this first place is the info about Miss Lestrade. Quite so, my dear fellow. It would appear that the writing and sketch on the reverse of the flyer pertain to the pickpocket Miss Lestrade and to the Mr. Windybank's pawnbrokery here. This is the kind of stuff that makes me think that Sholmes knows more than he lets on. Like, he's not confused by this in the slightest. Ah! You originally told us that you had merely given chase after Miss Lestrade stole the redemption ticket from you. But that, sir, is a thinly veiled lie. It is the information on the back of the flyer that led you here today. By which I mean, here to Windy Bank's pawnbrokery. And today, the redemption deadline of that overcode. But who drew that stuff? You know? Like, someone gave him that flyer. So your wit is outside for the young girl, matching the description you have written down to arrive. And you have gone to some lengths to hide the reason for your pursuit of Miss Lestrade. In other words, there is some ulterior motive for your actions. The cane, which you unwittingly clutched to your person, exhibits an incontrovertible contradiction. What utter rot! I've had this cane for years. The contradiction of which I speak is, of course, the missing ferrule. What's a ferrule? It's the metal cap commonly found on the end of a cane, Mr. Narhelda. Ah, the bit that makes the nice clacking sound on the pavement. Yes, exactly. Mr. Sholmes is right. It appears to be missing on this cane. But it doesn't actually look broken, does it? No, it doesn't. Though the gentleman certainly did recoil. Mr. Sholmes identified the cane as suspicious. There's initials on it. In other words, there is some secret about the cane that Mr. Benedict would rather we don't know. Look here, Miss Susato. There are some letters on the handle. Ah, yes. Those must be initials, I think. In the West, it's customary for people to engrave their belongings with the first letters of their names. So Herlock Sholmes will be HS. Oh, so Herlock Sholmes will be HS, you mean? Like high school? That's right. And the initials on this cane, obviously. Oh. AG. Why does it feel as though that's not quite right? Because he told us his name was freaking Benedict.
Take that!
The contradiction of which I speak is, of course, the initialing. A most astute observation, wouldn't you say, Mr. Egbert? Benedict. We are led to believe, sir, that your initials are EB, Eglin's best. That's funny. Yet, in a most possessive manner, you have in your grasp a cane bearing the initials AG. An incontrovertible contradiction indeed, would you not agree? No! You're wrong! This cane isn't! You said before that you'd had that cane for years. So don't try to tell us that you just borrowed it from a friend or found it in a park. In short, there you hold yourself to be a gentleman. You have withheld your true name. You recoil, sir. Is something wrong? I. And in your recoiling, you inadvertently facilitate the answer of the next conundrum to present itself. Namely, what is the truth behind this rod you bear? Come on, Eglin's best. Yes, your reaction betrays the truth. Handle, which you evidently would like to conceal, is the key to understanding this riddle, you see. Let's consider the bare bones of what's happened here. Miss Lestrade redeemed that fine-looking overcoat. It does look nice. I like the color. And now a mysterious man has appeared, introducing himself with a fake name and claiming that the overcoat belongs to him. But we know that he actually identified Miss Lestrade from a written description, written by someone else, which suggests that everything else he's told us is untrue. So what we need to do here is somehow prove that the overcoat cannot possibly belong to him. Okay, how do we prove that? Oh! The seam on the shoulder there is coming apart. Look, he can't fit the dang thing. Too big for him. I mean, too small for him. He's too big. What is? Do you know, a moment ago when Mr. Benedict was surprised by something that was said, I thought I heard him make a rather strange noise. It sounded a bit like a tiny growl. But now I think it was probably the sound of the seam ripping open. If you look closely, it does seem to be a very tight fit. The sleeves are stretched to bursting. He wouldn't have a hope of fastening it at the front. If he were to run around in it, I'm sure the whole thing would fall apart. That I'd like to see. Sorry? What number is this, Naruhodo? What number is this? So how can we make Mr. Benedict run around? He's really giving this some thought. This should be good enough. Shoot! Oh, I pressed the wrong button. Sorry, guys. 1 second. There we go. At least you can fast forward stuff like that. The split seam, which you evidently would like to conceal, is the key to understanding this riddle, you see. Ah! Yes, because the overcoat is rather obviously a poor fit. Having forced it over your broad shoulders, the seam is already breaking apart. My suspicions were aroused from the outset. When you so boldly lied about your name and so boldly waylaid this pickpocket. Urgh! This catalogue of untruths has all been for one very specific purpose, sorry. To steal the article that the young girl redeemed for Mr. Windybank. Ah! But what really irks me is this. The considerable crime I initially imagined has been considerably curtailed. To abscond with a redeemed item. Solved. There is a whole nother part though. Here we go. What else is there? Now, Mr. Benedict, let us continue. For we must expose the details of this elaborate crime you have in the planning. This is utterly absurd. You suggested I, a gentleman, designed a wheeze to filch some tawdry article upon it? Have you forgotten that I redeemed the article in the proper manner, using the watchword? Had I not been the one to deposit it in the first place? How could I possibly have known the relevant details? N'est-ce pas? Oh, but the watchword can be discovered. As you are only too well aware, Mr. Benedict. Ah, and your furtive glance is more telling than I could have hoped. What? Let us consider how one might come to learn a secret watchword related to the pawned property of another. The method is revealed by the consonants on the counter to which your eyes were inadvertently drawn. The direction of the deduction was changed rather dramatically now, I think. Yeah, I know. It really did change a lot. Yes, no more talk of tunneling into the sewers. That was the original route, yes. And robbing banks and stuff. It's amazing how he changed it on the fly. Which is a pity because it all sounded rather exciting. It did. I have to say, it really did. Anyway, you can't deny that this mysterious gentleman did know the watchword. Yes, Professor. Didn't know that word, Mr. Windybank would never allow you to redeem the article. Or looking at it another way, if you did know that word, Mr. Windybank would allow you to redeem the article, whether it was yours or not. So the question is, could this gentleman have found the watchword out somehow? If he was here that day, or if the person that wrote him that note was here that day. Notelet. This. Look at this, Miss Susato. Ah, it appears to be a memo that Mr. Windybank has scribbled to himself. Let's see. What does it say? Oh, Professor. Why, though? Mr. Windybank must make a note of the watchwords his customers give him, right before their eyes. And alarmingly clear script as well. Oh dear, I don't know where to look. Who knows what other secrets I might see? What? Yeah. Pawnbroker's revolver. I have to. This is Mr. Windybank's gun. Yes, loaded with only one bullet, he said. It would appear that being a pawnbroker is a very life or death profession. That might just be this particular establishment. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. We'll go with the notelet. Let's see what happens. Sweet, it worked. I mean, obviously it had to, but I wasn't sure. The method is revealed by the notelet on the counter to which your eyes were inadvertently drawn. Yes, the broker here follows the same procedure whenever a customer comes to redeem an article. He asks the customer for the watchword and notes down the response uttered on a notelet he has in to hand. Then he consults his ledger and confirms whether or not the watchword matches that of the article in question. I would expect nothing less of a diligent pawnbroker. But his diligence clearly has its disadvantages. What are you talking about? It is increasingly apparent that you were present in the shop before your accusation against Mr. Strayed. I mean, that kind of has to work out that way. In all likelihood, you followed her inside and then observed her talking to Mr. Windybank. When the diligent broker made a note of the watchword, as is his common practice, you observed him writing the word Professor on the notelet beside the ledger. I guess that's not really quote unquotes, but and that, sir, was the master plan you devised to steal the pawned article from the young Miss Lestrade. Master plan! Which brings us at last to the final chapter of this lurid scheme. Why would you go to such lengths to redeem that particular article from this pawnbroker? Are you quite serious? For an ill-fitting overcoat hardly seems to justify the effort, much less a worthless music box disc. But naturally, you had very good reason to make them yours, didn't you, Mr. Benedict? Eggs, Benedict. I have no idea what you're talking about. Allow me to present a rather interesting piece of evidence. You see, this picture postcard tells us all we need to know. The articles we're talking about are the overcoat and the music box disc that was in one of the pockets, which according to Mr. Windybank isn't even worth a penny. Yeah, according to him, but obviously I feel like that thing had more value. Yet this man went to such lengths to steal them. Why? I wonder if perhaps we already have the evidence we need to explain it, Mr. Naruhodo. Could we? Really? I better have a thorough look through all the evidence we've collected so far. No. Not from this point. I didn't examine it though. Look at all the little bumps on the disc. They're so tiny. I'd need to rotate it, I'm sure. Yes, the protrusions are called pens. They pluck the teeth of the comb to make notes. Just on the edge, there's a small amount of blood. Yes, the blood of the mysterious Mr. Egbert Benedict. When Miss Lestrade tried to grab the disc from him, the pen scratched his fingers, it seems. Like when you're grating some daikon radish, accidentally catch your finger. Except he's wearing doggone gloves. Ouch! Just thinking about it hurts. Gets me off eating radish. I just got the biggest chill down my spine, guys. I just got the biggest chill down my spine. Oh my gosh. I've been calling this since for a while now. Oh, there's a little scrap of paper stuck onto the reverse side of the disc. Look. And a scribble. Like, I don't know why, but when it's like, I feel like I'm on the right path, I just start tearing up for some reason. I can't. It's just something that's always happened to me. And a scribbled word or two. It looks like somebody's name. Or McGilded. If he is still alive. If he is still alive. Like, I mean, this does not prove that he's still alive. Granted. But it provides a very good... It provides a very good possibility. McGilded! It couldn't be! But it is Mr. Naruhodo. A name I shall never forget for as long as I live. Nathan McGilded! I'm joking. That was not the dude's first name. But why? Why is his name on this? The music box disc information has been updated in the court record. And remember, Gina herself said he told her. Interesting.
Take that!
You see, this music box disc tells us all we need to know. What's that on the back? It reads for McGilded. Ugh! Agnes McGilded. Or Magnus. Ah, Mr. Magnus McGilded. The unfortunate philanthropist who perished in curious circumstances at the Old Bailey 2 months ago. I knew he was going to come back. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, this is coming back enough. But if he actually isn't dead, that's just a whole other layer. He probably tried to make it seem like he died. Because, everyone expects the Reaper of the Bailey to just be killing people left and right or something, I guess. A prominent man in London, that his loan mongering demonstrated a distinct lack of scruple. So, you're an associate of his, are you? Or perhaps a subordinate? Oh man, England's best! How deep do you go down this rabbit hole? Oh, he is the Bad Hatter, alright. Especially now. Mr. McGilded was a man of unusually small stature. In fact, he was precisely the right size for that overcoat that you squeezed yourself into. I did not consider the overcoat being McGilded's. So, there's that. I kind of wish I did guess that now. Oh, that would have been a very good theory. It really would have. The satisfaction would have been high, too. Ah! Your true identity remains shrouded in mystery. Mr. England's best. I like calling him England's best now. But the final conclusion here is crystal clear. The reason you came to this pawnbrokery today. Was to retrieve an article left behind by the late Magnus McGilded. Terse! Ugh! And he's missing an article because didn't he mention there were supposed to be 2 of those discs? To acquire an item deposited by Mr. McGilded. Solved. So who wrote him the note? McGilded himself? I would imagine. Deduction complete elementary. Like, we're not gonna gloss over the fact that someone had to have given him that note. And the only person that knew Gina that well, too, was McGilded, right? Oh, man, if McGilded is actually alive. But oh, well, Mr. Magnus McGilded. Not a name I expected to hear in these circumstances. I kind of expected to hear it. I was like, this has to be the last case then. Like, it just feels like he would come up within the last case or something like that. Like, surprise, here I am. Not dead. Mr. Sholmes, I'm afraid there is something very troubling on my mind. What is it? Yes, pray tell, Mr. Sato. Well, according to what Mr. Windybank told us earlier, today was the final day on which this coat would have been redeemed, was it not? Yes, ma'am, that is correct. Today would be precisely 2 months since it was first deposited. 2 months ago was his trial! As you can see, I am getting, like, super invested all of a sudden. Like, it went from, oh my gosh, like, I kind of feel like I know things happening, but now it has truly escalated. Well, today is 15th April, so 2 months ago today would have been 15th February, sir. That's right. It's all carefully recorded in my ledger. Deposited at 10:30 p.m., I see. What? But that suggests... Yes, 15th February is precisely the day on which the omnibus murder took place. I'm sorry, I had to break character. Okay, there is a few things that could have happened. And, it could be that they tampered with the calendar and threw him off. Because if he could be thrown off on who is pulling out what and what belongs to who, then I'm pretty sure the date could be manipulated in his eyes too. But oh well, it was Ryunosuke who said it, and since I use my voice primarily for Ryunosuke, I guess how I said it was fine. Let's just pretend Ryunosuke said it just the way I said it. Oh man, hilarious. And 10:30 in the evening is precisely the time at which the terrible events were unfolding. We weren't even there. The Reaper of the Bailey was there, but we weren't to see all that happening. Suggestive is not the word. It would seem the matter is entirely beyond coincidence. You are, of course, at liberty to make whatever outlandish deductions you choose. However, I must insist you hand over the music box disc now. It would be a terrible shame for you to return to your native land in a box. What do I do? There are some things a man must protect at all costs. This may well be one of those things. Then again, it may not. Mr. Windybank! Oh my gosh! Is this case even real right now? Oh my gosh, it's so good. It's so good. This is my shop. I can't allow any harm to come to my customers. If that were to happen, I should have to take my own life. Point the gun at him! Mr. Windybank, no! Alright, that's enough. Oh my gosh! I could kiss the feet you have on your body right now! Inspector Gregson! Help! Help! We need you! I think this is the first time a cop has come when you needed a cop to dang well come. Unless Inspector Gregson is in the corner pocket too. Then that kind of changes things a little bit. I mean, we don't know for sure. Because wasn't Gregson after McGilded for years or something? Inspector! That's right, Sunshine. The alarm was raised on one of our dedicated emergency lines. So we got here as fast as we could. Now, what's all this about, eh? Oh, praise be! You're here at last! I was moments away from forfeiting my own life in my very own establishment. Shh. It would seem you have the upper hand. Man, is everyone locked and loaded in dang Britain around here? Who doesn't have a gun? And everyone is pulling the gun. That's the crazy part. Like, shots are going to be fired at some point. You can't have all these guns and someone not take a shot every now and then. Oh boy. My heart is pounding. Right, you lot have got some explaining to do. I don't appreciate being bothered with some petty argy-bargy. Petty? Mr. Windybank very nearly met with his end. Yeah, by his own gun, as far as I could tell. Oh dear. And the whole of Britain could meet with his end if I don't get to the bottom of the case I'm supposed to be working on. It's probably the case we're going to wind up working on too, Mr. Gregson. Or Inspector Gregson. What on earth is the case, Inspector? Spare no detail, Gregson. I might have said a little too much. No matter, it's nothing to do with you lot. Anyway, sir, you're going to have to come with me down to the station. But of course, Inspector. I really want to say that these two are kind of in cahoots with each other. That's a very soft call, though, obviously. I'll say like 5%. That's a theory I have, is that Inspector Gregson is also in the know somehow with the bad guys. Ah! He's getting away! Get after him, lads! Whistle the beat officer, too! Sir! It's like, why is he eating at a pivotal time like this? This dude just had a gun on all of us. There's been a spate of thefts at pawn shops around here recently. So we've fitted emergency buttons underneath the counters for brokers to let us know when there's trouble. Oh, Inspector, I was very worried there for a while. Very worried indeed. Now then, Mr. Permanently in mourning. Did you just stick fries in your jacket pocket? Oh, yes. I'll be taking... Yeah, I'm not surprised that this is the direction this is going in. I'll be taking that whatever it is and McGilded's down to the yard. Thank you very much. You cannot take this. I'm sorry. His name may be on it. But you kind of don't have... I don't think that he has a leg to stand on, does he? Yeah, sure, the guy's name is on it, but it has nothing to do with McGilded in a case. It's just literally in a pawn shop. You have to have like a warrant or something to take this from us. So hand it over. Oh, yes, of course. No, don't! Exactly. I'm like, sir, what are you doing? You do not have to give him something like this over. You don't have to hand this over to him. This had nothing to do with the McGilded case. That's the only evidence he's allowed to retrieve like this. I mean, laws could be very different in this day and time, but as far as I'm concerned, no, you have no reason to give it to him. No, don't. I cannot get her voice down. Don't give it to him. It's mine, that is. Mine. I'm sorry, miss. Anything belonging to McGilded has to be taken in as evidence. No, it does not. As evidence? If the police demand something as evidence, my dear fellow, we have no choice but to capitulate. It's all yours, Inspector. Urgh. And so, we handed Mr. McGilded's disc over to Inspector Gregson. I don't like that we did that. And we're summarily tuffed out of the shop and onto the street. Or turfed. To be continued. Oh, this is perfect. Be continued. Very good spot to end it on. Wow. It literally got so good. Like, I knew in my heart of hearts that McGilded... We did not see the last of Magnus McGilded. I felt that very deep down in my bones. And I want to say that he is still alive. Granted, it could just be that there's remnants of him still lingering around, obviously, but I don't know. I want to make the claim that there's more to this case than what's going to meet the eye. And it just literally exploded across the scene. Everything was great. Like I feel like this episode just hit all the right notes. and just whet my appetite. You have Mr. Eglin's best over here doing his thing, pulling out guns on us. And then we have the shopkeep, Mr. Wendy Book. What's his name? Wendy Book. I don't remember his name fully. But he's over here pulling out his gun on himself for some reason. I'm like, no, what are you doing? Then Inspector Gregson comes. It's just things were popping off. And I am here for it. I can't wait to see where this. I want to know what happens next. I need to know what happens next. This is so good. I am full of so much energy. Like it's. This is what I love about Ace Attorney. It doesn't fail to capture you at some point. Like you just get pulled and reeled into the world, and it's so good. But anyways, thanks so much for watching, and I hope you all have a great and wonderful day. And until next time, adios, my amigos. Bye.